I know this is a hot topic for all taxpayers, everybody throughout this whole country. Where can money be saved? Looking at the Sheriff's Department budget, the state mandates a lot of the way this jail needs to be run, how it needs to be staffed. But there's different ways within the Sheriff's Department, you know, try to prolong, do preventative maintenance on your squad cars, try to extend your squad cars as long as possible. Go ahead and look in, try to eliminate some of the overtime. There's a lot of issues that I know citizens are concerned about with the overtime that the Sheriff Department is spending. There's issues there. You can go ahead and deputies are working one shift after the next, and that's their right, but I think that becomes a safety issue. You could put something into effect where they have to have a certain amount of time between shifts. There's also people that are in management that are still in the union. You could take them out of the union and put them in a salaried position. That would cut money out of the Sheriff's Department budget too, and instead of paying them the overtime, they get comp time, so they get a little bit more time off. And just use your manpower and equipment wisely and extend it as long as possible.
The only real way we can cut costs in the Sheriff's Department is we have to start inside, and inside I mean by the jail. I don't think that you're going to be able to cut a whole lot of costs in the patrol division. The Sheriff's Department is quite thin right now as far as working patrol hours. I think that we need to concentrate on our inmates. Why, once again, why are we locking these people up? Is there any alternative sentencing that we can do? Is there community service we can do? Can we have a van load meet us at the city park in the morning, maybe bring them out to Leisure Lake and work on the cabins for 8 hours and give them a day of credit towards their jail time for every 8 hours that they're working? We're spending an awful lot of money transporting prisoners back and forth to other jails. We're spending an awful lot of money housing prisoners outside of Washburn County. We either are going to have to build a bigger jail or we're going to have to find alternative sentencing to keep these people out of there. I think that the scheduling is a problem. I think the overtime is a problem. I think that we need to look at how people are getting time off. I think that to give a person a vacation day on a short notice and have somebody come in and work an overtime shift to make up for that person is not really the best way to, as a manager, the best way to handle that. I think that you should be able to turn in your vacation time into the beginning of the year, and that's what you would stick with. I don't think that you should be allowed to take a day off and have us plan on working a person at overtime because you took a day off at the last minute. As far as vehicles, I believe that we should also take a look at the vehicles that we're using in the Sheriff's Department. I do agree that you need some utility vehicles, some four-wheel drive vehicles. I don't believe that we need quite as many as we do. I think that we should look at some more cost-efficient vehicles, and I also think that some people that are working within the office, whether it be investigators or the sheriff or people that are not actually patrolling and answering calls, we should probably look at some vehicles, a 2-year-old lease return. What's wrong with grabbing an old, a 2-year-old Lumina that might have 25,000 miles on it and putting that on the road for another 4 years? We could pick that vehicle up for about $10,000 versus spending $25,000 on another Ford Expedition.
I believe there are several ways we can, well, work on the budget. It's nothing's going to happen all at once. I believe there's issues in the jail. It starts with the jail. Right now it's a jailer dispatcher. I know that there's a lot of people going to this job. They want to be a deputy, they want to be a jailer, they want to be a dispatcher. It's a combined position. I know that that's pushed people away in the past, and we get them for a year or two and then they leave. They're looking for either jail or dispatch. Others that use it as a stepping stone, maybe use a better hiring process to find people that are looking for that job and not a stepping stone. I think we can, outside of the department, the patrol, there isn't a lot we can do, but I think we can do some rescheduling with investigators and administrators to cover more nights, weekends, that's when a lot of this stuff's going on. We're calling out extra people after midnight or late in the morning when there may be 1 or 2 deputies on. If we could switch some schedules around, I think if it's looked at, it can be done.
We have controlled spending. The last several years, we've been under budget. Not by much, I'll guarantee you that, but we were under. This year, the county board held me to a 2% increase, and we're right at 2%. We have a great program. A lot of the gentlemen talked about shifts and contracts and deputy sheriffs, and if any of you have been in the workforce and you're part of a bargaining agreement, you know there are some requirements that I must follow. And I don't make that decision. That decision is made by the personnel committee and the county board. When they pass a contract, I'm bound to abide by it. And if I don't, we'll get a grievance and we'll lose and we'll pay the penalty. So there are certain shift filling things that I can't avoid. I won't argue with you that there are some people working a lot of time. And a lot of it is because I don't have enough people on the road at any one time. Even one deputy calling in sick at the last minute, I got to fill that shift. There's not enough people. 2 guys for 816 square miles is difficult to do, with a sergeant thrown in there. But that's at the night hours. And we have to balance our shifts, and we have to balance our investigators with the need for public service. Who needs the priority service? I got to watch out for the sheriff, deputies, the officers. The police officers are in towns that only have 1 officer. We have to back them up with them in the evening hours. We make sure their safety is preserved as well as yours. And so their bargaining units are a big deal. Schedules, I think we've got the best schedule we've ever had. We've been working on the schedule for 19 years, trying to figure out the best way to protect you folks with our limited amount of staff. 9 patrol officers to cover 24/7. Over 1,500 road miles. It is difficult to do. We do, and in the jail, we have cut costs. This year, I cut the jail budget from $300,000 to $150,000. And the reason we do for the 2011 budget, the reason we were able to do that is because of our alternative programs, and it's because of our electronic monitoring programs, and it's because of all the other services that we offer our inmates to better themselves and not spend every day in jail. We have the services where you work 1 full day out or 3 full days out, you get 1 day credit, if you're the appropriate candidate. We've had some that didn't do so good. So we are controlling spending, and unfortunately the cost of gas goes up, as you guys know that as well as I do. We have been trying to control our fuel consumption. We've tried to keep our deputies in particular areas so they don't travel all over the country at the time. But unfortunately, with limited people, you could be up in Birchwood or down in Birchwood with 2 officers that are domestic and get called to Minong and a domestic, and it takes you 30 minutes to get there running red lights and sirens. And so it is a tough thing to control. But we have controlled it. We have controlled our increases in costs, and there's a lot of other things we can do. Our vehicles are on a replacement cycle. We get the best buck for it. We send them down to an auction in Marshfield or someplace, I think. I don't remember where it is. But we get a bang for the buck for our cars. And the Ford Explorers and the 4-wheel drives we have are appropriate for this country. And they're not much more than a Crown Victoria, which, by the way, there are no longer any Crown Victorias for cop cars anymore after 2011. So you'll see us driving around in those little Mini Coopers pretty soon. But we are controlling it, and we are doing a very good job, I believe. We've managed this office for the 19 years that we have, and I can't control homicides. I can't control the amount of crime. I think you're going to tell me time's up, right?